Good morning. Okay, let's start off by saying that some of you came to the soap class, right? A couple. Some of you have done it in the past. Some of you came to the scrubs and lotions class. But nobody's ever come to the bath product class. Well, certainly not in the last 6 or 7 years, because I haven't taught it since. And I've come up with so many different and new ideas in those years that I actually didn't have a clue what to put in the notes, because there were so many options, okay? There are a couple of things that I put in here that I may not have time to cover today. I'm going to try and cover as much as possible, okay? None of them actually take a long time to make, okay? But it's going to, we're going to be working very fast, okay? When you have a question, you ask it immediately, don't hold it, okay? It's bad for the kidneys to hold it, you know that, okay? Mustn't hold it. So just, if there's a question, just ask it so that, you know, otherwise you're going to forget it later. Probably somebody else is thinking the same question, okay? Right. I don't even think I'm going to follow the notes in the order that they're in, because what I've got in front of me at the moment is the bath confetti. Okay, and that is something that I actually had to start the process yesterday, because you'll see why. So let me explain to you how that works, okay? The thing about the bath products, the thing about the bath product is that they're exciting products, they're colourful, they're happy, you know, it's just like a bunch of fun stuff, really, okay? Okay, so bath confetti. Now you know that there's quite a bit of bath confetti on the market now. It comes in from China. You know, it's like this thin stuff, and put it in the bath and dissolves and whatever. I think that's made with machines or whatever. We don't have those machines, so we have our own recipe, okay? It's made with soap noodles. Now the soap noodles are, those of you that have done the soap class, soap noodles are palm oil soap. They're not the glycerine soap, okay? Do not be putting them in the microwave to try and melt them, because you'll have popcorn, okay? So they don't melt. So basically when we work with them, we melt them down with a lot of water. So a kilo of soap noodles takes 4 liters of water, okay? So it's in your notes, and over here I've used half, so then obviously 2 liters of water, okay? 2 liters of water, a huge load of fragrance. Why? Because they're going to be little things, and you do want them to have some effect when they're going to bath, okay? So a huge amount of fragrance, and then some colouring. I used, and I'm going to be using them a lot today, the dyes, okay? Because we've got 3 different things over here. There's a liquid soap, a liquid colouring in a dropper bottle, and that is normally used, we say, wet into wet. So the liquid goes into wet stuff. Then we've got a powder colouring, and that we always say dry into dry. Okay, but then we have the dye, which is different. It's just so highly concentrated that you get amazing results from it that you don't get from the other 2. So sometimes we use that. And here, because I wanted it very purpley, I put a teeny bit of dye into the pot instead of the liquid colorant or the powder coloring. A teeny bit of dye, and it made it very purple, okay? So I think, let me just show you, because these are stages that happen thereafter, but I want to show you. Okay, first of all, so I put the noodles in a pot on the stove, on like medium temperature, melt them down. Okay, every now and then I give it a bit of a stir, then I add my colour and I add my fragrance. And then, I actually in this case, I know what I haven't got. In this case, let me find one. I think I can find 1 spoon over here. That's what I was talking about going to get. Oh dear, it's not good. Probably then have taken all the spoons. So now we're left with teaspoons. Oh, that's silly. Okay, so basically what happens over here is, can you see it? Now we've got that new luster powder. It's like kind of a shimmery, silvery one, very nice. And I've mixed it in. Can you see that? I I don't know if you can see that in there, but it's kind of like pearlescent. Can you see that? Okay, so this is the stuff, okay, that I've melted down. Okay, it takes a good couple of hours. That's why we're not starting from scratch. And I just want to show you how you pour it. Okay, I'm not going to pour a lot because I've already got a poured piece that I'm going to work with. But I just want to show you. I'm pouring it in so that you can see a little bit how we're working with it. Okay, so we just pour it straight onto the counter. Okay.
Can you pour it onto wax paper or something?
Okay, no, you can pour it onto cellophane. Okay, so you can pour it onto cellophane, but what I've found is that the cellophane reacts from the heat and so it crinkles up. So then what happens, instead of getting a nice flat sheet, you're getting like very thin pieces and very thick bits and some up on the bump and some down the bump and whatever. So while I've said in the past, pour it onto cellophane, I've changed my mind. I think pour it onto the counter and when it's set enough, then put it onto cellophane. Okay, so that's what I did about 10 minutes ago. I poured some onto the counter, I let it set. I'm looking for a cookie cutter. Yeah. I let it set and I lifted it and I put it onto cellophane. Okay? And now I've got this like very thin sheet of soap. But you've got to remember that this soap, whatever it looks like over here, when it loses its water, which happens like over a day or two, when it loses its water, it's going to be 5 times thinner than it currently is, because it's good. Remember. So don't think, oh my God, that's not confetti, it's like, it's like chunks. No, actually, by the time it sets, it's actually thin. So, cookie cutter, and you know why I'm working on a polystyrene board? Because it's better on the fingers. And why do I work with a plastic cutter? Because it's also better on the fingers. Okay, so you can pretty much do anything. Use any cookie cutter, any shape that you like, but don't get too big because then it starts looking a bit. Okay? Right. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly finish this because I want to show you what you do with the rest. Like this over here.
Yeah.
Well, what we're going to do is we're just going to watch it. So it depends on how hot my soap was, depends on how cool my counter is, depends on how cool the room is, all of those kinds of things. So that's why I poured it out, because I want to show you that in about, I would think in about half an hour, I'm going to be able to lift it up and put it onto cellophane. Okay? So I didn't want you to miss that stage. Okay? So now, you see, I've done the cookie cutter thing. Okay? Now what we do is, we peel off what isn't confetti. Okay? So what isn't flowers, we peel off. And what's left behind are only flowers. This stuff over here is not wasted. This stuff over here goes back into your jug, gets melted down again. When it's in this state, it's in this form, you can actually melt it in the microwave. It's just when it's in this form you can't put it in the microwave. But in this form you can put it in the microwave. So then you melt it, pour again. And so I always say to people, if you're going to make confetti, divide your packet into 4, so it's 250 grams. Put in 1 liter of water and melt it down, because I tell you what, that will keep you busy for a day. If you do the whole pot, you'll never want to do confetti again. Because you do the confetti until it comes out your ears, you won't want to see it again, okay? Because, I mean, if you think I've used very little, I've already got this, okay? So this is the next stage.